Morning, everybody. I'm going to show you real quick what I'm working on this morning. The sauerkraut that I started is coming along very, very nicely. It's got a great smell. Tastes really good, too. I'm just letting it go a little bit longer. But this morning, I've got some pints, I've got some quarts, I've got a half-gallon jar, all in the turkey roaster in a hot water bath, getting ready to boil and sterilize. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill those with some cucumbers and make kosher dill. I made 18th century dill pickle, which is just a dill with no vinegar, so it's not like the sandwich dill pickle that you're accustomed to getting in the store. But what I'm making now will be the dill pickle like you're accustomed to, where you just grab it and bite into it and it's kind of sour. I've got several different sized jars that I'm going to try to do. And what I'm going to do is, after they boil and sterilize, I'm going to pack them full as I can get them, with the cucumbers that I've got, that you can see right here. I've washed them really good, and I'm going to trim off the blossom side of the cucumber, just about 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going to trim it off. I'm going to try to leave as many of these whole as possible. I'm going to spear some of them. I might slice a few also. But I kind of like them whole because I can always turn them into spears after they're done for use, but I can't turn them back into a whole cucumber. But I got the smallest ones I could find to put in the jar. I'm going to pack the jar as full as I can get it, leaving about an inch to 1/2 inch of headroom on the top of the jar. And then I'm going to fill it up with my brine. The brine is what you see here, which is 7 1/4 cup, or 7 1/3 cups of water. It's 3 1/3 cups of white vinegar, 5% white vinegar. I've also got a little bit of salt in there. I've got some garlic. I've got turmeric. And I've got mustard seed and citric acid all in here. And I can try to put the exact measurements out. But I've got mustard seed, turmeric, and stuff like that. And all of that is to make the dill pickle. Once this comes to a boil, I'm going to remove it from the heat. And we'll start packing the pickles into my jars. The jars have to be hot for what I'm going to be doing with them here to can them. But I'll pack the jars clear full of the cucumbers, and then I will put the brine in to fill the jars the rest of the way up. And once this comes to a boil, I'm just going to constantly stir it, trying to get everything to dissolve. And when I fill the brine up in the jars, I'll put it back in a hot water bath, and I will let it boil for about 10 minutes. And then I'll turn the heat off and let it cool undisturbed at room temperature for 12 to 24 hours, making sure that the jars seal. If they seal, they'll be good to store for pretty much an indefinite amount of time. If they don't seal, they're good for at least a week in the refrigerator. But once I get everything set up, I will bring you back and let you see how it looks as it's going into the jars. Okay, now the jars have been sterilized, and I've got some cucumbers put in there. As you can see, some of them I've sliced. Got a bunch of them that I've left whole, and I've got some that I cut into spears and put in the jars to help fill it up. Now I'm going to use my jar and my canning funnel and ladle in the brine and fill it up to the top of the jar, put the lid on, and put it in a hot water bath. Be right back when I got that done. Okay, now all the jars are filled with the brine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off the lid, set wipe off the rim, and set the lid on top with the ring and set it in the hot water to finish processing it. Okay, now they're in the jars. The lids are on. They're on a hot water bath. I'm going to bring it up to a boil. I'm going to let it boil for 5 to 10 minutes. Turn it off and let it cool at room temperature for 12 to 24 hours. Product will be ready to be eaten after 24 hours in the brine. So I will do a follow-up, let you know how they turned out. But this is my kosher dill. A little bit of a side note, if you need more brine, like if you have more pickles than you have jars, or have more jars than you have broth, rather, you can add brine by making a carryover solution, I guess is what you could call it, of 2 parts of water, 1 part of vinegar. So I got 2 cups of water, 1 cup of 5% vinegar, and heat that up and add that to a jar and then carry on as you normally would. But here is my kosher dill pickle. Thanks for watching.